I think the NFL knows what I'm going to say today. And they're trying to shut the stream down.
You're being silenced.
They know that I have been, quote, unquote, in a football sense, red-pilled.
Whoa.
Just the football sense here.
Yeah.
I'm going to come out and say it.
Uh-oh.
The Chiefs got a big fucking call last night. It changed the entire game, dude. Changed the entire game.
You're really flipping the script from what you were saying last week.
There is nothing wrong with being wrong, you know?
I wouldn't know.
And boy, do I feel wrong right now. Like, I kind of feel like an idiot. Nothing I have said to this point was dishonest or untrue. Objectively, told you we watch all the penalties assessed against Chiefs opponents, yada, yada, yada. And this isn't all the game's going to be boiled down to, but I know that there's a number of you waiting to hear. What did you think about those calls last night? Well, I thought Josh Allen got the first down. Now, the game might have changed one way or another after that moment, but, you know, it's no foregone conclusion they're going to go down and score. I did think that the ball that they were tied up with down there in the red zone early in the game, that could have gone either way. They reviewed it. They called it a catch on the field. Tie goes to the receiver. People take issue with the ball hitting the ground. It really isn't the ball hitting the ground. It's the ball moving when it hits the ground. I didn't have such an issue with that call, but the other call rigged.
Just
NFL
like that,
is rigged.
Straight
The
up.
NFL is rigged.
Wow.
I'm with all you conspiracy theorists. What's next?
So
Take me to the next one. I'll do the next. Whatever the next conspiracy theory is, just send it to me. I'll take a good hard look. Like, did we go to the moon? I'm not sure anymore.
Wow. Wow.
We'll check the tape.
No, I know we went to the moon. I feel it in my plums. We went to the moon. But as far as Josh Allen,
I thought he got it too.
I thought he got it.
But I think your love for Josh Allen is what's kind of driving this.
Isn't that
conspiracy.
funny? No matter what I say, people are telling me why I think it.
Am I not wrong? Is
Sucks
it
to
not?
be me. No, I think me having an absorbent amount of money on the Bills probably had something to do with it. But honestly, is there an objective case to be made for him not crossing that white line?
I think you got it. I mean, I'm with you.
I think your crush on Josh Allen is why you're saying that.
I do kind of have a crush on him. He's a fucking dog, dude. And I wanted to win that game.
thought he got it too.
Gene thought he got it, which I think obviously like complicates the whole thing. And this is what sucks is like, I get it.
That's what I say
This is Nate's
all
thing.
the time.
When they don't agree, it
just-
irks the fuck out of you.
It's one thing if we all are assuming
Chiefs
a
fans are
call,
tuning out right now. We're gonna give you credit. Don't worry.
like if we're all collectively unsure of a call and then the game goes by, it's fine. But when you're watching the game and you think a call is wrong and it goes by and then you hear Gene or the independent referee come in and say, "Yeah, they got that wrong." It boils my blood.
I just hate doing the job on a day like today. I hate doing it because now you got to talk about, you know, the call that you saw objectively or the decision that was made, the disparity between, you know, and a lot of you folks in the chat are like, I've been saying this. There were a few calls over this run, like the Osai personal foul, that people had a big problem with. And I was like, hey, tough shit. Tell the guy on the other team not to do dumb shit. It kind of comes down to the last drive when they're driving. Not they needed the help from Milano, but that's a face mask. You know, it's just dumb shit like that. The Chiefs let the other team do the dumb thing. So I am in no way discrediting what they've done to this point. But what I am saying is I was pretty damn confident that we'd see the Clete Blakeman crew, which has not been kind to Patrick Mahomes relative to Josh Allen over this season and in general, not put themselves in a spot like this. And that's what sucks. What I wanted to see the other night, or last night, feels like the other night, was I wanted to see a game finish where we didn't have to talk about this shit. Because I was on the other side of the argument, and now me just being a real motherfucker am flipping and saying, hey, maybe I was wrong. That's how we do this thing here. Nothing to this point. Even the Bradbury call in the Super Bowl, which I thought was ticky-tack, was a judgment call. And officiating the judgment is not perfect. But when you have a second look at something like that, like a nice long second look at something like that, that's where my antennae kind of go up a little bit. My drunk ass sitting at the birthday bar.
Happy birthday
1200
bar.
Passyunk Avenue. Shout out to the Happy Birthday Bar.
Great spot.
What a spot.
Great
There was at
spot.
one point in this game, me and Bo were outside. I got kicked out because I tried to smoke a dart in the fucking bar. Saw
Which is
somebody
crazy
else doing
because
it. There was
like,
another guy smoking a dart.
and that's like the kind of bar where you just spark up a dart and no one even bats.
Moreover,
You know,
there was another guy smoking a dart.
Yeah.
So I get not escorted out. I'm like, yep, sorry, run out. We're outside in the alley, and South Philly's amazing. Like, is it Gino's right down the way, or is it Pat's?
both.
They're brothers.
They're both right there. They're like within, like, you can kind of see one of them. The streets are so tight. It is a one-of-a-kind place. I'm not saying there's no other place with tight streets and cheesesteaks, but it is like, it's a special kind of place. And that was a really cool moment sitting out there, Bo, with you.
Yeah.
We were both on the Bills watching on my phone, and when Josh threw the touchdown, they beat the corner blitz, I think it was, in the end zone, and hit Samuel to tie the game up. That answer, we were screaming in the street. I was screaming in the street. There were people honking their
I have
horns.
a video of it right here.
You have a video of it?
Let's go!
You actually got a video of that?
Yeah.
Me and some total
It's such
stranger.
a shitty video.
There
but
are
yeah.
dudes screaming like 2 blocks away. There's horns honking like Championship Sunday. There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
And the thing that sucks is, and I want to give all credit to the Chiefs, I have to come in here today, and I'm not backtracking. I don't backtrack. What I do is I say, hey, maybe I was wrong. That's not backtracking. That's just being fucking honest. Yesterday, I do feel like they got one call that mattered. Now, you take that call away, I thought what we had was 2 fantastic fucking teams, 2 fantastic quarterbacks, and I saw a Buffalo defense that once they lost Christian Benford was cooked. You can't run a secondary out like that with the rap injury. You can't lose anybody else. We felt nervous about Cole Bishop. We're always nervous about DeMar Hamlin. Always. Okay?
Yep.
Rasul's a nice player. But the other guy, Elam, when he comes in the game, I mean, he's shrimp fried rice, dude. Like, it was legitimately one of those situations where everybody in the stadium knew we're going at this guy. And the amount of man coverage that Sean McDermott decided to play, the defense played better in the second half. I thought part of it was they tried to challenge receivers at least a little bit. Like, they were playing off in some situations. But how many picks and fucking crossers and stacks and bunches? I mean, this is the thing you talk about championship teams.
Right.
Fundamentals. You talk about the Chiefs, fundamentals, basic shit that you get to from like different looks, but it's all the same type of shit. And it forces you to play with great eyes and great leverage. And if one guy doesn't, they will find you. And that's what happened last night. And I don't want to make it that simple. There were issues like Josh and the Bills not having great calls in short yardage. I mean, I know they reeled off a couple 4th and shorts but it felt like sometimes they were just like, all right, fuck it, let's just do it again. 2-point conversions where I don't care if you're going to do it or not, just have the right play. And some of those plays to me were a little bit limiting. Once you saw that they had a big advantage in stopping the tush push, which is going to be interesting in 2 weeks, it felt like the Bills just were out of sync in those situations, in the gotta have it moments. And listen, the game comes down to a Kincaid drop. It really does. I think we're going to overtime if he catches that football. And, there's some people on the internet who I respect, and I'm not naming names because there's more than one, but they are criticizing Josh Allen for not hitting the orbit motion player on that play in Khalil Shakir, who definitely, I believe, would have been rallied and tackled. He put the ball, albeit a prayer, in Kincaid's hands, and he dropped the ball. And unfortunately, now he's 0-4 in the playoffs against Patrick Mahomes. And I'll say this, as a guy who all year has been banging the drum for the torch, possibly in the next 5 years to be passed to Josh Allen, it ain't happening yet because that's what happened on the field.
That drop worse than Mark Andrews?
No.
For the
No.
2-point conversion?
No, because the finality of the Mark Andrews drop and the fact that, like, I guess you had 2 sets of downs ultimately to get them off the field. People are forgetting about that. Benford's got to get Pirine down. That's the I love Pirine, but that's the number one guy that I'm like, if he gets the ball in his hands, maybe we can make a play on him. And then, like obviously the right edge, everything from sprint right option to quarterback keeps to something in the flat. That was a key area of the field for Kansas City all day. And they took advantage of it. And Mahomes used his legs, and they were vintage Chiefs. This was a low possession ball game.
Yeah.
That's what they do. So I just want to say this. Respect the hell out of the Chiefs. Fucking, they earned it. I don't think the fix is necessarily in.
No,
but I get
it. Felt inevitable, though.
I get it. It felt like that call was Buffalo Wild Wings a little bit.
Do we really think the NFL and
No.
Roger Goodell is going to give up the chance for a three-peat and most popular wedding proposal ever to happen in TV history?
You think that's going to happen in the Super Bowl?
Yeah. Why not?
How much you want to bet?
I don't know. We could do a little.
I'll give you 5
bet.
to 1 odds.
We'll do a little side.
Okay, because I can tell this is going to turn into one of those things where you're like, this is fact. They're going to get he's going to propose.
No, I just think it's going to all roll into one thing. They're going to win, and it's going to be a perfect scenario for the NFL. Roger Goodell, all under Roger Goodell, is going to have the #1 watch clip ever in history of everything. If it does happen, and I just feel like the NFL is gearing up for it.
I'm not biting that cheese, Nate.
I'm not biting that cheese either.
That
I'm not going all the what I'm doing is, and like people are so fucking crazy. They're so married to takes they wouldn't do what I'm doing today. So excuse me for straining a muscle, patting myself on the back for being real about that call, which drove me crazy last night.
Let me ask you something.
And not just that, the compounding effect of goddamn, the last week I was up here being like, they don't get special treatment.
The AI meme of Mahomes and the ref kissing is crazy
But I'm not going to go full internet guy. I'm not going to go full chat and be like, yeah, it's because there's a proposal or yada, yada, yada. Like, I don't know why it is. I'm not sure. And maybe part of the perfect crime to feed the biggest conspiracy theorists among us would be, hey, put Carl Cheffers, or not, don't put Carl Cheffers on the job, put Clete Blakeman on the job, publish the statistics about the fact that he has not given the Chiefs preferential treatment. It'll be the perfect crime.
No one will suspect it.
The color conspiracy came true, though?
No, it didn't.
The logo.
Where is Eagles green in the fucking logo?
It's green.
It's fucking yellow. Can we stop? Just because I'm giving you an inch doesn't mean you should take a mile.
It's green and red. The logo.
Pull it up.
Pull it up.
It's not Eagles green.
You were making a case for being the Commanders at one point.
Who's the real culprit here, though?
You were saying, look, when the Commanders get in, it's yellow.
Can we talk about this, though, Chris?
green.
Is the chain gang a major issue, too? Like, do we know that they have tracking data?
That ain't even close to Eagles green. That's like piss. That's urine. That's my urine this morning.
Eagles green.
After I took 14 shots of SoCo and lime.
Bro. Saquon and lime.
Saquon and lime.
God.
Bro, and that's an ugly ass logo, by the way.
Yeah,
I understand you got to put some of the fleur de lis shit in there, but like, that's just ugly. Listen, the Chiefs are incredible. I thought getting Connor back really helped, Shamari Connor. And, Buffalo losing Benford was huge. We already talked about that. But, like, there were moments in this game where there was, like, McDuffie on that late screen on 3rd and 10, which set up a dramatic 4th and 5. Or Connor just clipping Josh's ankles at the 40-yard line on that scramble. Because, like, these are little things that, like, obviously aren't the biggest play of the game, but they precede the biggest plays of the game. And, I thought that whether it was Chris Jones getting pressure throughout the night, he had like 8 pressures in the first half. Fucking starts dogging the first possession. Josh is a little bit frantic. He looks like old Josh.
Yeah.
Right? Like little things like that. The Chiefs just make all the little plays.
They're so confident. They're so efficient, balanced, and confident. I thought Spags called a great game, too. I mean, we all kind of knew that it was going to come down to the ball being in Josh Allen's hands in some capacity because, like, biggest game, obviously, of the season, you want to put it in your best player's hands as many times as possible. So we'd love to see him, convert that first down.
Hey, can I stop what you're saying? Adrian AD, can you come to the studio and suck my dick.
Whoa.
Pause. It's really sad when y'all are so mad about a black QB dominating, y'all prefer to spew conspiracies to take away from Mahomes' greatness. That's absurd. If you know the history of this show, if you've heard some of the rants I've been on, if you maybe have tuned in, if you're not just trying to get mentioned on the podcast, just keep it to your fucking self, bro. That's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. Patrick Mahomes I've made the case for him being the greatest quarterback of all time. I don't think I've ever said a bad thing about Patrick Mahomes. I think I sat up here 10 minutes last week and apologized for Lamar Jackson not showing up in the playoffs. That it's far from if this is what the chat's going to be, if it's going to be this type of dialogue, if it's going to be like conspiracies the whole time and whatever that was, I don't know why I'm doing this. Seriously. I don't get paid enough to do this shit. So just for a second, fuck you very much, Adrian. Next. Go ahead.
I think we were talking about football, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So let's talk about that. I don't even know what the fuck I was saying.
Who knows, bro?
My brain is so smooth.
The chain gang is the.
Oh, I want to know about the chain. What your thoughts are on the chain gang? Because I think the chain. Jesus fucking Christ. The chain gang is antiquated. That's part of the issue. Like, we know that they have all this tracking in the football in like somewhere in some safe in the league office. They know whether or not that was a first down based on like tracking in the football GPS data. Mm-hmm. You think that this might be an impetus for the league to go to some of that shit instead of just the chain gang?
Yeah, I think they need to put a chip in the football at some point. I was on the other side of that last week. I love the chain gang. I think it's like part of
funny,
football.
yeah.
But after last night, since I was personally wrong,
that's
what it comes down to is like, if you're on the other side of one of these games, you're really seeing it.
Yeah.
And in a game like that, you just feel like at some point they have to, like at some point we're not even going to be talking about a call like that.
Yeah.
But even
at some point it's going to be like, hey, move the chains.
Yeah.
Which seems inevitable. But right now, let's just be honest. There were other things in the game the Bills could have done to win that game. And that's the other side that I've been taking for a long time, which is that, like, listen, these calls definitely, they affect the outcome of the game either way. The thing I was saying earlier was the Bradbury thing bothered me in the Super Bowl, but not enough because it wasn't a second look deal. It was a judgment thing. The fact that we actually got to look at that is what bothered me. As far as everything else, like, I can point to 15 things the Bills did wrong in this game that the Chiefs did not do wrong, and that's why they won the game. And so, like, we got to credit the Chiefs. We got to credit Patrick Mahomes. Looks fresh.
He looked great.
He looks awesome.
Super mobile.
Super mobile. Seems like he saved the legs up for this stage of the playoffs. Yeah. And honestly, like, even the shots he didn't hit were more on target than the ones that he was taking in the season. Mm-hmm. Like, during the season, I felt like some of the shots were a little bit off, whether it was timing or the player. Mm-hmm. And last night, I felt like even the near misses were like those near misses that scare you.
Yeah.
And Worthy has become a guy for them.
He's so hard to cover in man. And you talked about how McDermott played a lot of man. They do those bunches. They do those crossers. And it's so hard to stick with him. And you got to work through all that trash as a defender, man. Like, they do such a good job from a coaching standpoint of putting their players in the best positions to execute. And that's why they're going to play in their third Super Bowl in a row. No, what I was kind of saying earlier before your diatribe about Aiden in the chat is
Aiden. I don't think that's his name, but we don't need to give him any more.
Whoever it was. Like, you expect to see the ball in Josh Allen's hands in critical moments because he's the best player in the Bills. I was so impressed with them using the Chiefs using design run game for Mahomes, and like, he looked fucking athletic. He looked good. He's always been a good athlete, despite like he's kind of got that weird gait. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so I really like the way that he kind of used his legs, used his mobility, picked up first downs on, rushing touchdowns. Like, I thought he just looked fucking poised, comfortable, and like a guy who's been there before because he has. Like, they just seem so confident. And I really think that that's what it is. They know that they have it in them.
And this Remigio guy, again, with a big return.
Yeah.
A big return. Like Tobe, the special teams coach, he's been there a while. Mm-hmm. The hell of a coach. I don't know where they find a guy like that, but, he wasn't a guy I was particularly familiar with before the last month of the season. Right. And he ripped off that big return to start the Houston game. Yep. And then he had a big one in this game in a key spot. And so, like, we could pass the flowers around, and we could give the Chiefs the treatment here. But this is just what they do: low possession games. Yep. Make the most of every set of downs you have, which is what I think the Bills should have done at the end of the game, where it felt like they got a little frantic.
Yes.
You know, like that's what the entire second half they came out and they ran the football. Mm-hmm. And one of the biggest stuffs of the game was, I think Wharton kind of knocking them off.
Yeah.
Their rhythm.
They ran that zone,
the
outside zone, and he just kind of penetrated it and had to turn it back. And it was like 3 or 4 yard TFL.
He had a really good year.
Yeah.
He's had a really good year.
Yes. He's fucking yoked, too.
Is he?
Yeah. He's a big, but like, he looks sick.
Yeah.
That was a big play.
I mean, that was huge. I think Spags just gets guys. Dana was big for them. Yeah. He played his ass off. Mm-hmm. You know, Chris Jones goes out saying they have Omenahu back, which they didn't have early in the season. Now you've got a full deck out there in the secondary. But I just want to say this again. If we're doing the legacy thing, I'm just not going to bite on anything other than Patrick Mahomes is like God and all these other guys are just not quite good enough to beat him. Like, it's just Josh Allen's not a choke artist. The Bills aren't a terrible team. They made some questionable decisions yesterday, but that team was very good.
I just think it boils down to the Chiefs are confident. They've been there before. They have a great vet team with really good coaching and good leadership. And they've had home playoff games, and they know exactly what they're doing. They have such a great identity.
No question.
Bro, this is the most points they've scored all season.
I know.
It's crazy.
That's the thing. Like,
it's a slow game.
Before the game, I thought a shootout would favor the Bills. And in some ways, it kind of did. But in other ways, I felt like the Chiefs' passing game, since they got Hollywood Brown back, they're back to being able to just – They started
and Juju
the game.
played good too. Like they got a lot out of some of their guys.
But they started the game just freezing backers and just throwing darts behind them. And it was like they had those guys in a blender from the beginning of the game. And then when Benford went down, it's just too much. So now they're winning shootouts, which I think they might have to playing the Eagles, because I think the Eagles can run the ball on them.
I do too.
Now Jalen's got Jalen and Kellen have to be on point, right? Because Spags, you never know what you're going to get with him, but you're going to get some pressure and you're going to get looks to change. And so, I really believe seeing them win a shootout yesterday, to your point, having not really done it all year, it's just like, oh, they got that too.
They've just been finding ways to win
still have
games.
that.
Think about all these different games that they've won and how good they've been despite having a down year at times, during the year. But they're just fucking winning, man, because they're built like that. They're good.
No question. Is there anything else we want to say about that game?
How about James Cook? Shout out to Cook. I thought he had a hell of a game.
He was incredible.
That
touchdown at the pylon.
But that touchdown on the pylon was so sick, dude.
Guy made
body
himself some money.
control.
Just barely,
Unbelievable.
This was such a great game.